Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
And we're following breaking news of this presidential visit to Michigan. President Biden has just arrived. This is video of him walking down the steps in front of Air Force One, landing at Metro Airport. Not too long ago, the president is going to be touring the Ford Rouge Electric Vehicle Center in Dearborn. And he's here in Michigan ahead of the automaker's unveiling of the all-electric F-150 Lightning. The president's visit tops our news here at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassimy. He is making a push for a $174 billion government boost for electric vehicles and charging stations. The F-150 is the best-selling car here in the U.S., and the EV's success is crucial to U.S. efforts to shift the vehicle fleet to a more sustainable model. Here's Rob Maloney with more.
Well, good afternoon. We are here in Dearborn at the Ford Rouge Plant Tour Center. In fact, this is the apple orchard that surrounds it, part of the green building program that they have out here at the Dearborn truck plant. Now, President Biden is due here any minute. He's going to be speaking this afternoon on a number of different issues. The first one, of course, is going to be electric vehicles. That is the heart and soul of his whole American jobs plan. He wants to see manufacturing changed in the United States. One of the concerns, and we are at a very interesting moment right now because of the chip shortage. Regular vehicles can't be produced, and yet they're trying to roll out an electric F-150. They're going to have the big announcement on that here in Dearborn tomorrow. But the president has his American jobs plan, and he wants to go to work on infrastructure. And so Gina McCarthy, his head of the climate issues, and she's the climate advisor for the White House, spoke with me yesterday about what the president's going to be talking about. And what she said is that the president wants to build a new, different future, using union workers, by the way, but many of the jobs that appear now are likely to be changed in the new economy. And this is what she had to say about what the president's going to be talking about today.
And we're doing that with union workers, and we're doing that with steel that's manufactured in the United States of America. We're doing that with batteries that are manufactured in the United States of America. And we're going to be able to compete with other countries like China, who is right now building more and more electric vehicles. And we do not want to be basically losing the market and continuing to do that, losing the market to China.
And of course, there are many other issues at play here. There are going to be demonstrations around Metro Detroit based on the situation in the Middle East. Now, we're uncertain whether the president's going to address that here or whether he might say something to reporters about it later. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And of course, we'll have full coverage of what the president has to say and what they're saying at these protests coming up on Local 4 News at 4, 5, and 6. Reporting from Dearborn, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Rod, thank you. As President Biden arrives in Dearborn, Arab American advocates are participating in protests as the violence between Israel and the Palestinians continues into its second week now. President Biden, in a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, signaled a change in course. For the first time, according to the White House, he expressed support for a ceasefire, working with Egypt and other allies to make it happen. Still, the president did not demand an end to Israel's aerial assault on Gaza. Instead, he urged the Israelis to ensure the protection of innocent civilians while backing, quote, Israel's right to defend itself. Now, before that, the White House was pressed on why the U.S. had yet to publicly call for a ceasefire, even as the death toll grew.
Our approach is through quiet, intensive diplomacy, and that's where we feel we can be most effective.
Pressure on the president has been building, including from progressives within his own party, urging him to take a tougher stance against Israel's bombing campaign. The Ford Rouge plant that the president is touring is it's located in the section of Dearborn that's estimated to be more than 90% Arab American Muslim. Many of those people are strong supporters of Palestinians. Today, community leaders called on President Biden to put pressure on Israel.
We tell our president today, who will hear us, that our fight will continue. We're not going to give up. We're not naive to expect an overnight change of U.S. foreign policy toward this most unfortunate conflict.
The next two protests will be happening outside of the Dearborn Police Station on Michigan Avenue and at Lapeer Park in Dearborn. Different Arab American groups are organizing these protests, and of course, we'll be monitoring it all for you. We'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, Palestinians in Israel, Jerusalem, and the occupied West Bank are observing a general strike today to protest Israel's airstrikes on Gaza. Right now, we check in with Richard Engel. He is on the ground in the West Bank.
Despite calls for a ceasefire, Israel said it still has more targets to hit and did overnight, destroying more of what it describes as an extensive tunnel network Hamas is using to fire rockets. Hamas is still launching rockets at Israeli cities, but fewer than before. And the group is no longer making good on promises to rain fire on northern Israel at the time and place of its choosing. Hamas's infrastructure and the homes of its leaders have taken a severe beating. So have the people in Gaza. According to health officials, around 200 in Gaza have been killed so far, including more than 60 children. Many in Gaza are now taking refuge in UN-run schools. The UN Director of Operations here says this must end.
The population is terrified. They've started moving from their homes because they no longer feel safe. All I can say is, as a humanitarian, as a UN official, first of all, stop the war, stop the violence.
Amani Al-Shawarji, a teacher, went to a school when a bomb exploded by her house.
We left because our windows broken and fire entered our house.
Not everyone here is a supporter of Hamas. They've come from several different Palestinian factions, and that is what this conflict in Gaza is doing. It is bringing Palestinians together and saying that finally the Palestinian issue is once again in front of the world. But here, it does not seem like it is going away. It does not seem like it is any less intense than in previous days. Israel says what it is fighting is a legitimate war of self-defense to stop Hamas rocket fire. But here, it shows no sign of letting up. Richard Engel, NBC News, Ramallah, the West Bank.
Richard, thank you. Palestinian officials say that an Israeli airstrike has damaged Gaza's only lab for processing coronavirus tests. Since COVID-19 first emerged in the blockaded Gaza Strip, a shortage of medical supplies has allowed authorities to administer only a small number of tests. And now the sole laboratory that processes test results has become temporarily inoperable. Closer to home this afternoon, we're expecting new Michigan vaccination and case numbers. But on the national front, the United States has passed 32,972,000 coronavirus cases, with more than 586,000 deaths from the virus. We also have an updated total on recoveries for you on our website. You can go to clickondetroit.com for that. The number of weekly cases, new weekly cases of COVID-19 in children have dropped to the lowest level since late fall. According to the latest data, nearly 49,000 new pediatric cases were reported last week. Experts say that is the lowest number of weekly cases since late October. However, the experts also say that children represented nearly a quarter of the new weekly cases. As of May 13th, more than 3.9 million children have tested positive since the pandemic first began. And the United States is divided over whether the CDC acted too soon or not in dropping its mask mandate for those who are fully vaccinated. At least 17 states have lifted their mask mandate to align with the CDC guidance. Capacity and distancing restrictions have also been lifted for many businesses. Michigan embraced these new guidelines last week. Many people and businesses are still adjusting to this big change, but states like New Jersey saying that they will not be lifting the indoor mask mandate. The nation's largest nurses union says lifting the mask mandate right now is dangerous.
I certainly want to be able to walk around without a mask, but I definitely don't want to go back to where we were.
Well, at last check, nearly 60% of Americans have received at least one vaccine shot, inching closer to that 70% goal. We want to get to breaking news from North Carolina now. Prosecutors say that the officers who shot and killed Andrew Brown Jr. were justified in using deadly force. It was back in April. The 42-year-old was shot 5 times by officers who tried to serve him an arrest warrant. District Attorney Andrew Wombley says that the shooting was justified after Brown hit officers twice with his vehicle. He did call it tragic. Still to come, the U.S. is investigating 2 cases of a mysterious illness that sickened National Security Council officials near the White House. We're going to take a look at if there are concerns for the president's safety and health after the break. Brandon?
All right, Evrod, we are looking at sky conditions with clouds to our south and clear conditions here. Something's got to give. We've got to break through this to get into that summer heat, and we'll do it with you next.
And we are continuing to follow breaking news from Dearborn. The president is touring the Ford Rouge Electric Vehicle Center. He's here in Michigan, just landed after ahead of the automaker's unveiling of the all-electric F-150 Lightning. The F-150 is the best-selling U.S. car, and the EV version's success is crucial to U.S. efforts to shift the vehicle fleet to a more sustainable model. President Biden's visit comes as he makes a push for a $174 billion government boost for electric vehicles and charging stations. We're back in